The USA is the biblical Israel. The 42 prophet kings, philosopher-priests of Matthew, Luke mirror the first 42 presidents of the USA. The USA is also head of the seventh, eighth, and last world power, which is a renewal of Greece-Rome. The second slide here shows those 42 individuals juxtaposed against each other. For example, number 1 is Abraham juxtaposed against George Washington, Isaac against John Adams, Jacob juxtaposed against Thomas Jefferson. And note that Jacob is later incarnated as Thomas Jefferson. Let's go to the next slide. And we'll just summarize what I just said here. Thomas Jefferson is the reincarnation of Jacob, aka Israel, and Caliph Umar. Prophet Muhammad is the reincarnation of Moses. Now, the comparisons in the list of the 42 individuals juxtaposed against each other show the similar or the opposite. Some of the comparisons are listed below. Abraham and George Washington moved away from their nations and started new nations. Washington was a warrior. Abraham fought against Chedorlaomer. Genesis 14:5. Jacob, or Israel, is the father through his offspring of the Hebrew nation and the West. Jefferson is the father of the ideals of the USA. Number 14, Franklin Pierce became the youngest president of his time. He hastened the Civil War by signing the Kansas-Nebraska Act of 1854. His opposite, David, was a young warrior, and the best in his character was the opposite of Pierce's. Number 15, Solomon was wise and had 1,000 wives. James Buchanan is considered one of the worst presidents because of his lack of judgment and moral courage, and the only bachelor president. Number 16, Abraham Lincoln saved the Union and is considered a moral individual. His counterpart, Rehoboam, presided over the breakup of the Jewish state into Judah and Israel. Rehoboam was immoral. Number 28, Woodrow Wilson was considered a good person until recent times. His counterpart, Jeconias, was a scoundrel. Number 30, Calvin Coolidge said the business of America is business. Salathiel, the counterpart, said the business of Israel was justice and righteousness. Number 39, Jacob, of course, is another word which means James, Jimmy, or Israel. And it means he who would provide service to his fellow man. So Jimmy Carter, former President Jimmy Carter, works for Habitat, an organization that provides services from man to his fellow man. Number 40, Joseph, Jesus' father, helped to prepare a channel that became the hope of humanity. The world is forever indebted to him. He went to Egypt to avoid death to his son. The counterpart, Ronald Reagan, presided over the USA, becoming the world's biggest debtor nation. Also, the national debt went from 1 trillion to 3 trillion. Reagan invaded tiny Grenada and bullied other small nations. He also said things that had little or no resemblance to facts. Many USA citizens just loved Reagan. Number 41 and 42. Jesus was oppressed and escaped to Egypt to save his life. As the Christ, number 42, he made a way for many to save many lives, to tell the truth, to be of service, to heal the sick, to feed the hungry, to give man hope, to lift the oppressed, to free the captives, to comfort the weary, to encourage those who fight against evil, to lead man back to his final destination. Bush, number 41, the counterpart to Jesus, invaded Panama. He killed the children and women and men in his way. He murdered tens of thousands of children, women, and men in Iraq. The USA citizens, or many of them, just loved it. Jesus the oppressed, Bush the oppressor. Opposites. During the time of Bill Clinton, number 42, the price of oil declined to about $10 to $11 per barrel. Surpluses appeared in the federal budget. The internet and dot-com bubble appeared, and some thought that the Clinton era prosperity signaled the end of regular economic cycles. And this reminds us of Jesus feeding the multitude of 5,000 men, plus women and children, with 5 loaves and 2 fishes, and taking up, after everyone had eaten, 12 baskets full of fragments that remained. Matthew 14:17 through 21. And also the 4,000 men, plus women and children, fed with 7 loaves and a few little fishes. And they took up of the broken meat that was left 7 baskets full. Matthew 15:34 through 38. After Jesus left the scene, and after Stephen was stoned in 34 A.D., the covenant with ancient Israel ended, and the dispensation or mission or torch was given in turn to the Christians and then to the Muslims. And after Clinton, the covenant with America ended, so the Supreme Court selected the next president, George W. Bush.